Hello and welcome to the 24 NRD Consultancy Podcast, which I have lovingly named the Disruptors Guild. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It sounds right. This is Ben Walmsley from Needus Digital, and he's going to be talking today. I think you'll see Ben more often because we live very close to each other. Ben is a photographer by trade. Am I right in saying that?
yeah.
And business owner. And
hmm
now you've set up another business in what we were just saying is quite a divisive subject.
Yeah, I mean it's quite well rounded, but essentially business coaching consultancy, kind of specialising in systems, automation, and the buzzword of the moment, AI, which is of course the divisive subject.
So, Ben, what does, because everybody has an integration or a device or software. I'm working with a company at the moment. They have AI integrated into their software. What is it that your AI does that's different to other AIs?
Okay, well, I think it's important to kind of clarify that AI is a very top level term.
Mm.
And AI in business can be in many forms. Everyone will have heard of ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, um, which obviously can be very good at creating content, and helping you with writing.
Yeah.
It can be your ideas partner, thinking partner. Um, but I am specifically homing in on how AI can actually give you results and outputs. Um, the common one and the one that I'm really focusing on at the moment is conversational AI, which you can prompt, but then it can have a conversation with a customer essentially. Without going too deep into the details, you can send a message, social media, WhatsApp, text messages, emails, all the channels, all the communication channels
Yeah.
that all businesses use, and the AI will respond and it'll be an AI employee. Um,
Wow, that's crazy.
it's absolutely insane.
So it's a
Like
bit. I could have it like a PA.
100%. It's. I mean, it's more than that. And do you know something? It's so simple that it actually is complicated. And what I mean by that is when you actually talk to somebody about it, it's so revolutionary that you
Hmm.
can't really appreciate how simple it is as a solution. Like you send a message to a business, I'm interested in your services. 20 seconds later, you've got a response. And we're not talking like old fashioned chatbots that
Yeah.
give robotic answers. This is a fluent exchange. The AI has got personality. So, a little story when I was testing it,
Yeah.
going back 12 months ago, probably about this time last year. And we had maybe about 180 leads at the studio,
Yeah.
people that had shown an interest through that voted in a Portrait of the Month competition. And we wanted to know the ages of the children in the family, because that helps us offer them things that's relevant to them. Um, so we prompted the AI, we gave it the information about the business, this is what we do, this is what we're hoping for, and we gave it a goal, an objective. So your objective is to ascertain if they were to attend a photography experience, who would they bring along? And obviously we give it context. You know, we're a specialist photography studio where we specialise in children. So we're kind of looking for that sort of, those sorts of clients. And if they have children of the right age, they're perfect for us and we're perfect for them. And this particular lady had her grandson was special needs.
Yeah.
And she was really, really worried with regards to, it wasn't special needs, actually. That's another conversation. The one that I'm actually thinking of is quite sad. The child had a condition, a life-limiting condition.
Oh, man.
And she was interested in having some portraits of her grandchild, and both me and my business partner looked at each other when we saw the message come in from this lady, and we was like, oh my God, do we need to jump in here? And I mean, the hairs are standing up on my back, like how beautiful the conversation was. The AI was empathetic. It was just such a beautiful thing, not necessarily from the technology stepping up and providing that.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, you know, obviously this AI is representing us as an organisation, but just for that individual, you know, the conversation was just such a lovely conversation, and I might add, you know, she didn't know she was talking to AI, and it can absolutely get controversial with regards to whether that's ethical or not.
Yeah, that's the tricky one. I'm thinking here. I'm listening to this. I'm like, oh man, is that misleading? Especially when it. I mean, it's always the thing, is it? When it, if that was me and I was talking about my car at a service, at a garage, at Mercedes or whatever, I wouldn't care. But if it was about my kids, would I? I don't think I would care anymore. I just need the answer that I need.
Well, do you know what? That's the thing. Chatbots, you know, when you ring your bank,
awful.
when you ring your bank,
Yeah.
and you repeat yourself, like, because it's not understanding you, they're annoying.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to be, you know, people don't want that. But when AI is helpful and it saves you time, it's amazing.
Mm.
You know, and that lady, AI or not, had a lovely conversation. She was put at ease with regards to us as a business, and I might add, it is important that the AI is prompted and given the right information and given what we call guardrails, you know, so it stays within a particular
remit.
Yeah. I don't think people actually mind.
I don't think I would care.
Because they're getting the service that they expect. In fact, they're getting a better service than they expect. Because if you inquire with a business and you get an immediate response, you're getting an amazing service from that business.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give you an experience that I had today, which has gone on since last year. I was working for a company. They enrolled me in a pension that I didn't want to be in because I already had one. And it was a mistake on their part. Royal and London are the company. I'm completely out in here because it was just the experience was so poor, has been so poor. And this is supposedly a company that is out there investing our money for our future. And the interaction was so poor. They enrolled me in this pension. I didn't want to be in it. There's not a lot of money in there. There's like 500 quid. So it's a very small amount of money, but it's still 500 quid. Now, that also belongs to the company. Half of that is to the company that employed me, and half of that is my money. And the day I got it, I said, I'm really sorry, I didn't enroll in this. I ticked to opt out of it. So you've enrolled me in this without my permission, which is just an admin error. Nobody has done it maliciously or anything like that. But I contacted them, I rang them, I told them, look, I'm really sorry, been enrolled in this thing, I don't want to be part of it, I have my own pension pot, can you please return the money? No, we can't do that. No, we can't help you. Not interested. And then told me that the only way to do anything was to talk to my employer at the time. I sent 2 emails and they said it was done, but clearly it wasn't done. But then on top of that, I filled in their form to opt out on that day, which they auto responded to me, and then they never opted me out. So then I thought I was just stuck on a mailing list for like their junk emails. So I unsubscribed from that, but I didn't think any more of it. I get a letter last weekend saying that there's all this 500 quid still in there, and that my pension amount would be like 50 quid for a year or so. It's something ridiculous. And I was like, why have they still got my money? So I contacted them. I said, look, I thought I opted out of this. I contacted you in good time. You know, everything's there. And they then emailed back, you didn't opt out in time. And I was like, well, no, I have opted out in time because I contacted you and I gave them the dates in August of 24. When you sent the welcome pack out, I opted out then. I contacted you, I rang you, I have a call log, there's an email trail, you emailed me back. Then I got the same message again. Well, can you send us the call logs? I'm like, hang on a minute. You should have these. You're the company. So I sent them the email that they'd sent me from their customer service team 1 or whatever it was. And I said, this is the email that I got. So you'll have a log from there. But we want the calls, because if we don't have the calls, we can't tell if you did or not. I was like, but you sent me the email on the day in regards to the complaint that I rang you up and said, no, I don't want to be part of this. And it was like I was talking like to total plonkers that were scan reading it and in fact, I could see where they were copy and pasting responses and then typing because they were too lazy to make sure it all had the same font.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good example.
AI would have done a better job.
That's exactly 100%. What I was going to say.
And I got passed through 3 different people for the same thing, had to explain it over and over again. I was like, this is unbelievably poor.
Yeah.
And AI would have been able to clear that right up. I reckon it would, if it was intelligent enough and it knew the rules and it had access to the database. Well, actually, because they said, we'll release the money if you can prove that you contacted us. So now I've got to go to EE. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to really screw you up. So I put in a subject access request, and which will then they'll have to go back and find every interaction themselves, including all the calls.
Well, it's their responsibility.
But it's poor, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, they're holding on to, and their attitude is like, not to give me the money at all. And I'm like,
oh yeah, they won't want to.
No, but it's just scammy, isn't it? This is a pension company. Poor, absolutely poor. I'm like, it's cemented where I stood with it. In that, there's no way I'd want them managing my money. So if anybody from Royal London is watching this, flipping it. But AI would have. So what would have AI done in that situation?
Well, I guess it potentially would have dealt with it the first time around. Would be my guess. I guess it's, to bring balance to this, it is important to say, AI is only as powerful and as good as those that are helping it. The way that I like to explain it to people is goes back to that word I used earlier, AI employee. And I think it helps people really get the head around what it can actually do. If you imagine hiring somebody in your business for the first time,
Yeah.
and they are going to be, they're going to look after your office, they're going to do all your admin for you, they're going to respond to emails, and keep everything in check. You wouldn't give them everything on day one. You
Oh
wouldn't
no,
you
heck
wouldn't
no,
just
no.
give them a box and say deal with it. You would train it. You would train them, sorry.
Mm.
And with the AI you have to train it. And because it's AI, it doesn't always do what you expect. You can ask it a question, and you could do this right now. You could go onto ChatGPT and you could ask it a question, and I could ask my AI the same question, and you would get a different response
Mm.
because it's AI, and it's not programmed to have robotic responses. So it is only as good and as powerful as those that train it. And when you deploy AI in your business, the first time it might only be 70% there. And then you'll see from the live data how it performs, and then you'll give it some more prompting and you'll help it out a bit more, just like you would with an employee.
Mm.
You check in the week after, like, how's this week gone? What can I help you with? And you get that feedback, and it's just the same. And I think particularly in this country we need to break down those barriers, because the power of it, both from a customer service point of view and business efficiency point of view, the power is absolutely there. I mean, it is controversial.
But then, see, it is controversial. But then the other part of me is like, somebody contacted me today, and they probably put out loads of messages on LinkedIn every day. I mean, he's just doing his job, so I'm not knocking the guy. He was saying, "Oh, who are you hiring? We can help you out with hiring staff. We can offer you, um, you know, secretarial work. We can offer you all this stuff, and it's all based with people in South Africa." And I don't know if you've dealt with some of these call centres in South Africa, but
Times.
yeah, they can be very aggressive and very unprofessional sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, I have had a couple that are good, but it's very hit and miss. And also, there's quite a lot of corruption in South Africa, as my South African friends will vouch for me saying this. Um, and one of the things that you'll find is you'll have a call centre that's legit, but upstairs there's a non-legit call centre, and your data might find its way upstairs, which has happened to me.
Mm.
And I knew it did because the IP from both the location was the same from the scam callers to the one that I'd been dealing with.
Mm.
So it happens in that point. This is where it gets bad, because ultimately you don't want to see a human lose their job and be replaced with AI. But in that instance, I would hire an AI over them any day of the week, which is an awful thing to say, but the risk is less,
Mm.
which is really sad.
It's a balance. There's a lot of talk at the minute in the AI community, with regards to you've got to have a human in the loop. But
Mm.
again, going back to your employee, you supervise your employees. When the best way to think about, it is just like it is with a human, but it's the output that makes less mistakes. Um, Nobody wants to see a human lose the job.
Mm.
Like I'm a
Yeah, I'm like that.
I'm a photographer. Um, I still do what I do because I love it. But phones have been replacing me for years. I absolutely know the power of technology on humankind. and what makes us human. And I think that is why I feel placed in. I feel like I'm in a place where I can actually come at this from both sides, to both use AI in the right way to bring the benefits out, but kind of advocate and speak up for the human as well, and try and blend the two, because it is on us and our children to shape how this changes our world and changes humanity. Like,
Well, yeah.
it's that big.
I think there'll be pushback on it over time.
I mean, they already is, and the thing that you mentioned just then with regards to data, and that's a really, really important point when it comes to AI, because ChatGPT or OpenAI, it's an American company.
Mm.
You know, it's an American company that is not really regulated. I mean, it's not regulated at all, only in the sense that it's a business. And data protection and privacy, I mean, that has been in conversation for many years now, but it's absolutely climbing.
Well, the mad bit is with that, there was that scandal, wasn't there, about they'd been training it with, what were they saying? They trained it with YouTube videos
Yeah,
and video content.
there's been a few different things.
So then the argument is like, well, where's the copyright in that? You're using somebody else's content
Yeah.
to train something.
Well,
It's really tricky, isn't it?
There's a particular company, and I can't remember the details because I did only read it briefly, but there's a particular company that's been sued. It's been going on for quite a number of years, and the British court essentially said, I don't know whether the evidence was not strong enough, but the thing that I took away from it was they're not even a British company. They're not operating in the UK. You're accessing this
Remotely, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's, I mean, this subject is huge. You know, we touched on humanity there, but actually we've lived in a global world for so long. You know, with the internet.
And global trade. They push global trade. It's
Yeah,
always
global
pushed.
trade, and you know, and governments are arguing over that right now. But if we, as a culture, as a society, as humanity, if we don't come together across the world, these are the conversations and the things that we should be talking about, and not in the sense that we shouldn't use AI.
Yeah.
Because it's quite clear we should. You know, the medical research and the developments that will provide tremendous amount of good to humanity. You know, there's just the cat's out of the bag, if you like. We absolutely need to be talking about how we control it, because it I don't want to say it's going to take over, but it's going to take over.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you start looking at it, and it's putting it in drones and military hardware, like America's new, what's the drone called that they've got that just loiters? It's stealth. It's AI powered.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's where it all gets a bit scary, and then you just don't. It used in the right hands, it's like anything, can it? Used in the right hands, it's good.
Yeah.
Used in the wrong hands, it's a weapon. And you could say that about cars are like that. But I think it's interesting. We're what we're watching now is the equivalent of like when China first started to have car ownership. where they got to buy their own cars and they were reasonably good. There was a lot of stuff that they had to work out because they'd never had car ownership on that level before. So, there was all the people trying to scam for insurance because they're like, oh, this is a quick buck. And then they were like, oh, we need to put cameras in the cars now. Then they were realising that people were denting their cars and they weren't obeying road laws and all those kind of things. They all started to tighten up on. And gradually, as a society, they've now, like, I would say they're probably very similar to us or the Americans in the way that we own cars. So it took a bit of time to learn that, but they got there, and it was a fairly short amount of time. Equally so, most important car built for 100 years, Tesla. We did not know what we were doing with that thing when it first came on the market. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people loved it. Then it got all political. I mean, like, it's insane, really. But now that car proved that you could have an electric vehicle, and it had use cases where previous to that, nobody had ever really built a proper electric car that was usable and was interesting or nice. It was always kind of, there was a massive trade-off. So I think with AI, we're in the same position where we're learning this thing, and probably when we can get our head around it, we'll make a load of dumb mistakes, but we should be able to be all right with it. But
the difference here, and I think this is really, really important, the difference with advances that have gone by, the internet, the first car, was or automation in factories.
yeah,
The difference was it was physical. It wasn't, we always had our intelligence.
or not in cases.
Yeah. But what AI is proving is that it's going to be smarter than us. It is going to replace the last thing that we have as a species. Our intelligence, our ability to think and to reflect, those things matter, and it's those things that we need to protect, and that we need to have the guardrails in place. And if we don't, there's absolutely talk of AI training AI.
Yeah, I saw this.
And it's totally possible. If you'd have asked me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or even 18 months ago, AI is going to have a conversation with your customers, and I'm not talking just one. Like, these conversations that I mentioned earlier, they all happened at the same time.
Oh yeah,
Our inbox was like boom, 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 boom. Like, these conversations were all personalised, all different. That would have been, to bring the human back into it, that would have been 2 days worth of work for a person, like, broke up over, somebody's not replied, or they have replied but I've nipped out for lunch, and by the time you've come back from lunch, the person's got on with the day, so the replies are not happening. These just happened. And that's
amazing,
today. That's happening right now.
yeah.
And it's the power of it. To bring some positivity back into this conversation.
Yeah.
The power of it and the benefit of it when it comes to business and helping us do good is just absolutely unreal.
Well,
it's just incredible.
I can say, I use ChatGPT on the daily.
Chatty
G. I put my microphone on, and I come in with a coffee, and I look at what I've got to do, and then I will open a conversation, and I'll just talk to it. Right, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm doing. Blah 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 blah. These are all the ideas I have today. How do I structure that? What do I need to do first? Because my sort of crazy brain is like in 20 places at once. It's really good for just like, right, what you need to do is this. Right, let's go for that. This is good low hanging fruit. That you don't forget you've got an appointment at blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, forgot about that. And it's really handy for me. I mean, I built my website, and I remember when I built my first website back in, gosh, I don't know when, that I said I'm terrible at spelling and grammar and all that. I am terrible, like genuinely can't spell. So, um, my dad was the same, so we probably got some label, I don't know. But it would take me to write content for my website weeks, like literally weeks, and then my wife would have to proofread it, and then I'd have to change it all, and it would go on like that. And if I wanted to, I had an idea like, I need to do that, and I'll make a load of money on it. By the time I'd finished it, the moment had passed, and somebody else had already done it. And with ChatGPT, I literally was like, I need it to be word heavy for a while so it gets SEO'd before I can tweak it. I'm going to do like a 1-page website with everything on it. It was up. I started at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think it was up by lunchtime. Done. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, wow, that's amazing. As an assistant.
And you know what? What that then allows you to do is to actually be a human.
Yeah, go and do the network meetings. Go and meet people.
Speak to people.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
do the things that AI can't do.
So is that the utopia? There's the thing, right? So we all have and start integrating AI into businesses, and then AI starts to do the stuff on our behalf and starts trading and making money. Because in theory, I'm thinking, and as I say this, so it might come out stupid, but so you've got all this money flying backwards and forwards, which is human to human. So you take the human out of it, it then becomes a transaction by AI, then frees up the people to do whatever they like, and then you effectively could all end up with passive incomes and actually having proper family time, going and doing stuff, and that could potentially mean that you have, the hospitality industry comes back. We'd end up with more cruise ships and holidays and all that kind of stuff, because everybody, it could even,
Because we've been freed up.
but it could even, could it get to the point where it, like, you wouldn't have poverty, you wouldn't need a benefit system, because it would be able to provide worth.
Well, these are all the.
Could you imagine it? It could be like a Star Trek.
I mean, these are the things that we need to be producing. These are the things of how we leverage it. To the good, to the greater good. The problems we have at the moment is, it's owned by a very small group of individuals that are developing it. The AI race, who can get to AGI first.
That worries me.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are super intelligence and stuff. I mean, it's all coming, but we need to be identifying.
Who are they building super intelligence for? That's my worry.
Well, they're building it because they can.
Yeah, but that isn't always a good reason.
No, I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Atomic bomb.
There we go. But we do have them.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. But once you've opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we have an ability as a society and as a country. I don't again know the details. I absorb that much information that I don't always retain it all.
No.
To the detail that I potentially should, especially for things like this. But there was something to do with military and China and America. Do you know what? It was a weapon. It was a weapon that had been developed, and it was determined that it was far too dangerous. A bit like the atomic bomb, but worse.
Yeah.
And America and China came together and agreed not to develop it. So there is proof that we can work with other countries.
The cynic in me is going, and they both went away and had developed it on the sly.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe
Yeah.
who? Yeah. I mean, I'm an eternal optimist, and I do believe that. I believe all these challenges are absolutely will be solved, but the problem is how quick.
Yeah.
And what tends to happen, our downfall as people, is that we wait. You know, like, oh, I won't bother doing that. You know, I know that might happen, but I'll wait to see whether it does.
Yeah.
And the problem is that it just makes it harder and harder, and we see that in society
All the
with
time.
with everything. You know, we're not perfect as a species, but again, you know, I mean, society and things move on. It just so happens that this is as big as when electricity was created.
100%. Yeah.
Now we're sat in here.
Yeah.
You know, everything is powered on electricity. Our lights in our houses. You know, heating, and we at one time we didn't have that.
No.
And when we did have it, we then had the opportunity to create all the things that we now have for the greater good. But I'm sure back then, and I don't know, somebody probably was worried about explosions, you know, through development of or harnessing energy into electricity.
well,
I'm
you had
sure
the-
there were lots of accidents
Yeah,
that happened.
even you had during the Great Industrial Revolution, you had the Luddites that used to go around the mills and destroy the machines because they were taking jobs from
Okay.
people.
Mm,
So, you know, there's always been resistance,
mm.
but this is a bit more epic, I think,
Yeah.
than
Well, it
in
is
many
because
ways.
it's to do with intelligence.
Yeah, and that's
That's the
I
thing.
mean, I have in one part of my life, I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. Like for me, revolutionary, changed a bunch of things, incredible. On the flip side, I think, oh my word, this is God with a little G. You know, this is like, where is it? You know, where is this taking us?
Mm.
What is it? Is it good? Because
I mean, I find that exciting, actually.
yeah, I mean,
You know, like, who
I
knows?
I just feel like it could be very, very dangerous.
Well,
And
it absolutely could, but
but then we
it's
had
on
this.
us to make sure it isn't, just like everything in life is.
How about this? This is a crazy thing. Have you heard of the Hadron Collider? That big, like, tube that goes around in a circle where they smash two atoms together.
Oh, no.
So they were looking for something called the God particle.
Okay.
So this kid and a few other people were worried, scientists, that if they did this and they hit them together, that potentially everything would just disappear into a black hole.
Okay.
Like it could be the end of life itself, or the universe. Even was the theory. But then there's now this theory that actually they did that, and now the reality that we're on is actually a very slightly different timeline, and that's why you get the Mandela effect.
All right.
How mad is that?
Yeah.
That is, this is very non-businessy, but very just something I'd heard this week, and I thought, man, that is a wild theory. I thought, yeah, that's quite crazy. But people had these ideas based off that, and then you look at AI, and people have the similar concerns, and they seem wild and outrageous, but they're maybe not as daft as they first seem.
No, and you know what? There's probably more concerns and there's more problems and potentially even bigger problems to solve that we haven't even thought of yet, because we don't know where things are going to go. There's been, I read something that said, will we have an AI government? Now I don't know about you, but given the state of the current bunch,
Oh yeah,
like
I'd swap them out.
I'd be installing AI tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um,
They're just insane.
Despite the downsides, I couldn't see AI doing a worse job.
It's just
than,
bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never seen anything like it. Like, on the level that it's on. And you think, like...
Do you know what we need? To bring a human back into this. I think what we need above anything else as a world is a Martin Luther King moment. We need somebody that's going to win hearts and minds. Not on the left and not on the right.
No.
But somebody that just brings people together.
Yeah.
That is what we need. Not in this country, but just again as humanity, we need something like that.
I just think that's never going to be possible.
Well,
and I tell you why I think this. I think the heart of man is corrupt above all things.
Do you? You don't believe that?
No, I do 100% believe that. It's just in our nature.
I wouldn't use the word corrupt.
I would use the word corrupt.
I just think we've got downsides as people.
But think of it this way. If we all were exactly the same and the only difference we had was the colour of our trainers, we'd find a reason to go to war.
Maybe, yeah.
We just would. We'd be like, them red trainer lot, they're evil. They're the worst people in the world. Oh, yeah, the blue trainers and the yellow trainers have joined up and we're having a war against the green trainers and the pink trainers. It's just like... we've always got a reason to disagree, and like you can see it on a real basic level, which is not.
I would challenge that because it's not corrupt. That's required. Like we are. The reason things progress is because we debate, and it's because we talk, and it's because of our differences. It doesn't. Yes, there's absolutely things that are wrong and things that are right, and some things are very obvious, but not at first. Not always.
Well, maybe not. But then you look at, as soon as there's any, if you're talking in societal terms, which we were, like my view is very dark, unfortunately, which is that there just will never be any peace all the time that humans are what they are. As soon as they get a bit of power, I mean, you look at communism as a theory. Actually, could be amazing, but why doesn't it work in practice?
Well,
it's
because a very good question,
it's because as soon as people get power and money, they become greedy, and it's just as silly as it sounds, as much that you look at them people and you think, oh, you're horrible. Well, yeah, but if you were in the same spot, you may take advantage of the same situation. You look at the scandals with all of the... In fact, you saw it, right, on the budget this week. Classic moment. Absolute classic moment. All the stuff, and they're all jeering and about every little thing. And then she talks about landlords. And in that moment, all you heard was me. And why is that? Because they're all flipping landlords in that room. And that's the only thing that actually was like a direct effect to them. And then they were all thinking about their assets and their money and all the things that they're making. And then they were interested in that one thing. That's because they're corrupt. There's no doubt about it. All the expensive scandals just doesn't surprise me. And then the other part of that is you go, well, if I was in their shoes and it wasn't directly illegal, or I didn't think it was, then I would probably do it because I've been poor, and it would be nice to not be poor. So, like, I almost don't. Well, I almost don't feel bad for them because it's the notion of humans. Right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's.
So then, you could have what I was saying is on a basic level, Facebook, Facebook in a group for an area. Everybody's got one, a local area Facebook. There is a picture of somebody that has left their car unlocked, and somebody has gone and tried the door handle, gone in and stolen all their stuff. I have a background in cars. I know exactly what the equipment looks like to get in and out of cars without keys. They're saying, oh, they must have used the thing to open my car and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, your indicators didn't flash, which tells me you left it unlocked. No, I definitely locked it. They must have had a code reader. Right, if they had a code reader and they were that sophisticated, they would have stolen your car. They could have literally taken your car off your driveway. Why would they nick your air freshener, some change, and your favourite, I don't know, Lighthouse CD? It's not a thing, right? So the truth is right there in front of them from an expert. This is what it is. You've got all the footage in front of you on camera, but no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. There's no way I could have left my car unlocked. It's all this and that and blah, blah, blah. It's everybody else apart from the fact that you left your car unlocked. And that's without taking into the whole conversation of the thief that took your stuff and why they did it. And that's the problem with humans. Like, sometimes it's really obvious at what the right thing is. But there is always somebody that is like, well, actually. And you're like, well, okay.
But we can improve, can't we? And I'm sure it's why
I
you're.
just don't see like it. I just don't see that it is improving. I feel
Well,
like
it's not, not at that sort of level.
No,
You have to find the people that are open to change, and
yeah,
get them on the bus, and
as Polly would say, you need to change your pond. So if there's not the
that's a good
people
way of
in
putting
your
it.
pond, find a different pond where
Yeah.
there's good people in there,
Mm.
which is true. But I'm just talking about wider societal, the way I see things going.
But business is about society, right?
Mm.
It's about people, helping people, giving things to people that they want, that they desire. At the end of the day, business is just an exchange of money and services.
Yeah.
It just so happens that money is the currency in business. And I see it as my responsibility as a human, as a citizen, as a person to help where I can in business and the world, and I think if I fundamentally believed that there was no hope, then, well, where does that leave us in some ways? So I do agree with pretty much everything that you've said.
It's scary, isn't it?
I can't deny it. But there's part of me that holds on to the fact that people can be educated. We can all become better at everything. Be it business or just being a
Decent person.
yeah.
I'd like to think that.
There's a lot of problems, be it the rise of AI or poverty or wealth, because both of those things are problems. They bring problems to society as a whole.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's where I go back to that Martin Luther King moment. The only way out of the problems we've got at the moment is one individual somewhere that can win hearts and minds of people. And I believe that person will rise up at some point.
Elon Musk.
Don't
You could,
Oh my God.
well, you definitely wouldn't get everybody. Or Donald Trump, he's doing a good job.
The thing is as well, we in the UK we are probably 2 years behind America, and I mean that in the sense of day to day and like current affairs.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I actually think in some ways we're a lot more developed in other ways, in terms of like
Healthcare.
we have a royal family, for example,
Yeah.
you know, which actually probably a bad example that, but in certain ways, but for the purpose of this conversation, that they are ahead, and the problem with their country at the moment is they are very, very divided.
Mm.
And what I see happening in this country is the exact same thing is happening. And if you believe that America are 2 years ahead of us, you can almost see what's coming in this country.
Mm.
You know, and I'm trying to be very diplomatic, you know, not being on one side or the other. But whether you agree with Trump or not, what is clear is the divide in society is not good.
No, a house divided amongst itself will fall.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You know, whether you're left or you're right.
But
if you're not together, then what?
Yeah,
I
think that's driven by foreign entities that would seek to see the fall of the West. In my personal view,
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunate as it happens, they've indoctrinated a generation to war against each other. I mean, I saw it literally. I was messing around on the computer when they were doing the elections, when Biden won, and I was watching accounts, and I did some checks on them, and the IPs were from the same location, same account, and they would say, "Oh yeah, Trump, he's the best," and then literally 20 minutes later, Biden, you know, Biden's gonna take over, screw Trump, you know. It was like, and you think it, and there's thousands of people on here, so that to me is outside interference into that country's elections,
100%,
because they're paying bots to just go in there and just decimate, you know, chats and divide the people. They even did it on in fact, there's a really good YouTube video done by a guy called Smarter Every Day, and they had a 3-star general on there. So he's an incredible engineer, and he works in basically checking countermeasures. So he works in the weapons industry for the American government. I think he actually works directly for the military, but he checks if China has something, that they have something to counter it. So they either get hold of it, or they look at it and they analyse it and they work out what it is, and then he will check that they've got something as part of a team that will beat that. So they've then looked at like Twitter, back then it was Twitter, YouTube, and other platforms, and including Facebook, and they determined that there's another battlefield, which is online.
100%.
And this 3-star general was I mean, to think how big a deal that is, to get a 3-star general on a YouTube video to talk about it, is insane. But one of the interesting things, as you know, I'm a churchgoer. There was a Facebook page, and it was called, I'm sure it was called something like Jesus Saves or something like that. It was something typically Christian cliche, and people were joining this, and a lot of boomers on there who don't really understand the internet are all joining onto this Facebook group, and it would post motivational Bible stuff up. But once it got to a nominal amount of people, then what they started to do is try and find doctrinal issues that churches would argue about. So one of the classic ones is once saved, always saved. So it's a massive debate, but they fed that in, and then as a person that goes to a large church, I could hear people talking about, what does this church believe in in once saved, always saved? Or do they not believe in once saved, always saved? And they wanted to know, and this group had painted it as being such an important thing that it was fundamental to Christianity, which, to be honest, it isn't really. But it was used in a way to divide the church on such a basic level. And you think, if they're going to that length, it turned out it was Russian run. If they were going to that length to disrupt people and divide them, that is ultimately what they want to happen. And so in this country, I agree with you 100%. We need something to unify us. Unfortunately, I think the only thing that will unify us to that level will probably be something horrendous, like a war or some sort of, like, I don't know, a meteor coming out of space, which would be very sad if it comes to that.
It would be very sad, and what's
We're really
what's
cheering
sad
people up
about
on this podcast, aren't we? We're really cheering
Well,
everybody up.
we'll change the
We'll change the
we'll
tone.
change
This is
the
the
tone
red
in a
wine.
moment.
For those watching in the morning, it is actually, what time are we at? 10 o'clock at night at the moment.
Evening, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, flipping it. He's having a glass of wine and a beer at like...
Yeah, is there some
6.
more in here actually?
There on the bottom one, I think there's some cider maybe.
A little fridge here.
Yeah, there's a bottle to the...
There,
Yeah,
there,
let's have a
move.
quick look. Oh, there we go. We've got a fridge.
Sorry to all that's watching, but at least you know it's real.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, very much real. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Oh, what was I going to say?
You were saying, although it's sad.
Yeah, so although it is sad, what you said with regards to, something like a war, is Boxing Day 20... I can't remember what year it was. I'm going to say 5 years ago, 2001 maybe.
Yeah.
The floods.
Oh, yeah.
So I have got a very close connection with the Calder Valley in Halifax, so Hebden Bridge, Mythen Royd, and there was absolutely devastated by the floods. Up to shop signs.
Oh, it's ridiculous, wasn't it? It was wiped out, wasn't it?
Yeah. But the really beautiful thing that came from that was that the community is absolutely incredible. And people do say, devastation and tragedy brings people together. Doesn't always, but it absolutely did over there. And if we don't get on top of these potential problems that we can see coming with AI, before that, we'll be forced into it by AI wars or, who knows at this point. But it's sad that it might take something like that to get us to change. I mean, there's conspiracy theories that they made COVID up, right?
Yeah, I heard all that. Yeah.
It worries me that somebody may
Well, what we need?
create something just to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing we need to do
Maybe they should.
is watch The Simpsons, because that seems to predict all of the future, doesn't it?
Do you know what? I have never properly watched The Simpsons.
Have you never watched it?
And
Man.
I don't really like admitting that out loud, actually. So yeah, I don't know, but it's been going for a long time, hasn't it, Anna?
Well, my missus hates it. absolutely hates it.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I don't know why. But I used to love it. And there's something at that and Futurama. I like the humour. The like she didn't. She was like, well, that's just really silly. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's also the stuff that goes on in the background.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's the stuff that's not said that's funnier than the stuff that's said.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I really like it. But it's really funny that there's all these predictions of things happening, and the pandemic is one of many
Oh,
Simpsons
really?
predictions. Yeah, it's quite funny. If
Oh,
you just put
wow.
it in YouTube, it's quite funny. But yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing, and I think that is probably a global issue, not just a our country or America or Australia or whatever. But I feel like there's a real disconnect from the people versus the politicians at this point.
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
there's just
the
such a
system's broken.
massive gap now in whatever country you're in. There is a real gap.
We live in a global world and have done for so long now,
Mm.
and that's only getting more and more. Um, but yet we still have a government based in London.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know, and again, whether you agree with something like the EU or you don't, there's no question the idea of bringing more people together is the right way.
Well,
Or,
yeah.
or, or, or we go the opposite way and we have more localized things.
Well,
But that's what I love about the states actually,
yeah.
because they have a federal government and obviously republic, and but then they have states. You know, so there's a lot more local control. I mean, there's loads of different ways of doing things, but one
Well,
thing that
we've
I'm
got
absolutely clear on is that we don't just live in our local area anymore.
no, we
You know,
don't
we
know
live
online.
in the world. We live online. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, didn't I? I read a Vogue article a few days ago talking about Gen Z and how they now absolutely differentiate the difference between IRL, in real life, so in real life experiences, and then digital experiences, and they've separated those two things because they see that online is not just,
That's wild, isn't it?
it's not just like a side thing, it's a real thing for them, to
Yeah,
the
that's
point
right.
that they have to have real life experiences. What was really nice actually about reading that was that they value IRL experiences, in real life experiences, a lot more than probably what we give them credit for, in
Yeah.
terms of, like, you know, kids gaming, always on social media, you know, and they absolutely do indulge in that world, but they massively value real life experiences, and that were really lovely to read,
It's it.
actually.
It's interesting because I went to a food and drink seminar last Friday, and Zara Smith, the lady's called Zara Smith, lovely lady, and she was really clued up on the market for food and drink. And what was really interesting was how each generation has different values within the food and drink. So Gen X still, we like a glass of wine or a beer or cider of an evening, or we'll still have too much and be a bit wild and all that kind of stuff. Although we're now starting to look at food that will prolong our lives and help our brains function, like
You know,
proper
well,
brain food.
this stuff don't, does it
No, it
really?
doesn't do anything. But then the interesting bit was then the next generation down, they're more interested in like things like vertical farming. I didn't even know that what this was a thing.
I don't know what that is.
Right, so what
Enlighten me.
that's flipping brilliant when you think about it. So they get a warehouse, they put all the stuff in like you would a grow room, effectively.
Okay.
But they're growing fruit and vegetables, and because it's inside, they're not spraying any chemicals on it
Why have they called it vertical farming?
because they put them in racks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, and you can use a warehouse and not a field and all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
It's quite brilliant. I was like, wow. And then what they've done is they've then got local greengrocers. So, say you're in a city like Sheffield or Leeds or something, there'd be vertical farming, greengrocers that they can pop into and grab something, but equally so, they can order their vegetables to their door.
Mm.
So it's convenient as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant, really. And I mean, that's so thinking outside the box. I don't know what I wouldn't have even. I know that they grow things like mushrooms and lettuces like that, but I never thought it would be to such an extent as it is. Uh, and they're more bothered about things like nootropics in their drinks and having things that will stimulate them that isn't alcohol, so it doesn't have the same side effects. Although that again, you have to be careful with that because I watched a guy. Is it called Creighton or Craze? Oh, I wish I knew the name of it. And he was saying you can get it in a petrol station, like a drink with this stuff in, and it makes you feel like wired and on point and everything like that. But after a while, you can end up getting hooked on it, and then it has the same. You end up having withdrawal symptoms and things like that.
I mean,
It's insane.
there is drinks now in there where it's like CBD.
CBD, yeah.
There's all that. I mean, it's there's so much good stuff like that. You know, in terms of like we actually live much healthier lives. You know, with all the doom and gloom, there's a lot of good going on, and again, you know, that's where AI can help create more of that if we keep those guardrails in place.
They were talking about how Gen Z use AI to tailor their own diets. So they'll put in like,
oh yeah,
I'm allergic. I'm finding that when I have gluten, I'm really bloated, and I feel like when I have, I don't know, oats, I get really bad heartburn, and I want to cut my alcohol out. So what could I have instead that will give me a buzz and chill me out? And then ChatGPT is like, well, this is what you need to do. It sources everything. It tells them where to buy it, and they've got a full diet plan.
Well, two points on that. A little tip for people:
Go for it.
go to your cupboard or your fridge. You know, make a list of what you've got in your house. Put it into ChatGPT, and it'll tell you how to use up all those ingredients. You know, you could give it some prompting like, I want the extra things that I need to buy to be as cheap as possible, and it'll, you know, seconds, and you'll have, you know, recipes. But a bigger story with regards to this is a friend of mine found out she was allergic to wheat. She was really, really poorly. In fact, I remember her son being at my house, and she sent me a message saying, I've gone to hospital. I think I've got appendicitis, and she might be having her appendix out. Don't tell my boy, but I won't be there to pick him up, type of thing. So that was fine, and she ended up being told she was allergic to wheat, so she cut all the wheat out of her diet, and it was fine. She went on with her life. Couldn't eat Yorkshire puddings, which...
That's depressing.
Yeah. But then I don't know how she actually ended up speaking to ChatGPT about this, but she did, and she said the things that she would have explained to a doctor. And ChatGPT suggested a particular supplement that she should add to her diet, but more than what the recommended dose was.
Yeah.
So obviously there's controversy there.
Oof.
But it was something very safe that actually if you took more of it, it wouldn't be damaging. But of course, supplements always come with recommended doses. And ChatGPT said take like 10 times the dose. And it cured the wheat allergy.
You're joking.
No, she can now eat wheat again.
What?
Which is absolutely wild.
But then I guess ChatGPT has access to all the papers,
Yeah, but what's
all the
really
medical stuff.
what's really incredible about this is that she went to the hospital and they diagnosed her with something that was actually true. She came home, cut wheat out of her diet, and she got better.
Yeah, yeah.
And it turns out it wasn't that.
Wow,
Which I mean, do what you want with that
that's
in
wild, isn't
in
it?
in, in turn. But that's I mean I don't no, like absolutely. I'm not suggesting people should
No, no, yeah,
self-diagnose.
no, no. We're definitely not advocating for.
Yeah, we'll put a disclaimer out
Yeah,
there right now.
don't try that at
Um,
home.
but that is just a story that
Yeah,
do what you want with that.
it's
It's
crazy, isn't it?
yeah by accident. I mean, it's
It's wild, isn't it?
sometimes I'm like, oh God, what is actually next? It goes back to that electricity thing.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
we
but
don't we
we
don't
now
know, do
take
we?
everything for granted. We never
No,
used to have vacuum cleaners or kettles
no.
or
Well, I've
ovens.
got a robot inside that vacs up for me, like
Oh, of
a
course, yeah,
little.
yeah.
I will say, stick googly eyes on it because you feel really silly when you're talking to it if it doesn't have googly eyes. So
I've been considering getting one of those
they're
actually.
great, honestly.
I had
It's
one years ago, but it were a bit poor. You used to leave it on, and it almost like used to get full of all the stuff it collected, and then it used to start dropping it, so it was a bit
oh yeah. So
counterproductive.
ours tells you when it on the app I need to be emptied.
You've got an app for it.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
and
course, yeah.
you can schedule it, and you can change the amount. It'll mop as well, but I don't like the idea of putting water in it. So I'm like, it's got lithium batteries and water in the same. No, we're not doing that.
Well,
Um,
we can put our phones now underwater, can't we? Like, I mean,
yeah, but I don't
that's a
know.
crazy thing.
I'm still the luddite that I am. I'm like water and electric, and it's plugged in, and I'm
Mm.
downstairs. It's downstairs, and I'm upstairs. I'd rather not.
Oh, it's wild, isn't it? Because you get your phone wet, which we've all done,
Yeah,
and you try to plug it in, and it comes up and says, "Oh, water detected," or whatever it says, like can't charge. And then there's a button that says like emergency override.
yeah,
It's like, well, what's the point in telling me?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
who sees that and goes, "Oh, okay, I won't charge my phone then." Like,
yeah.
you want to charge your phone, everybody presses that button. Like, what a
Yeah,
waste of time.
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I know. Yeah, it's mental. If you told me years ago that I would have a vacuum cleaner that went around the house, and see
Mm.
now this might be a good analogy. It goes around the house, it vacs everything up on the bottom floor. It can't do the rest because you need a Hoover for every floor. And this one's too dumb to recognise that there's stairs. It just launch itself. You need ones with the lidar radar on the top to detect the stairs, and then
Yeah,
you
you
can map
can
the
get them,
room.
can't you?
Yeah, but I wasn't in the £200 budget. I just wanted it was Amazon, 99 quid, job done.
Mm.
Um, and if you told me years ago that I would have that in my house, I'd have laughed. I'd be like, and
Mm.
also that technology would have seemed so expensive that I
Mm.
would have never believed that I would have that thing. And
Mm.
now, I mean, it's just there. It's just
Mm.
like part of
I think you get
your.
lawnmowers as well,
Yeah,
can't you?
you can get lawnmowers. I wouldn't mind one of them. But the other side to it is, I still have to get the Dyson out and give it a proper vac every so
Mm.
often just to make sure it's properly done because it
Yeah,
does a
getting
good
into the
job.
corners.
Yeah, but it doesn't do the perfect job. So,
Mm.
it still needs that human element. And I think, and I still have to take it apart, clean it, declog it of my wife and daughter's hair, and all the fun things that you have to do with a Hoover. So it's still the same.
Mm.
But yeah, I guess maybe that's it. AI will continue to exist and grow, but it'll still need humans and will still need to do what we need
Oh
to do.
God! I mean, there's absolutely no question. We are required. We will survive despite all the doom and gloom and the risks surrounding it. Obviously we are both in business.
Mm.
That comes with a huge amount of risk, and we still do it.
Yeah, 100%. We're mad.
Because I mean we are to some extent, but It's progressive. It's for the greater good. Whatever business you're in, fundamentally you are helping somebody.
Somewhere, yeah.
You know, whatever it is that you do,
Helps them do their thing.
whether you're a brewery, you're helping people have happiness to some extent.
Yeah, start their businesses and
that's the really exciting thing about being in business. You know, to be able to do more of that.
yeah, 100%. So I'm going to put the camera on you. We've been going, would you believe, 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
So we've been going some time. Tell everybody about your business, what you do, how they can get in contact with you and buy some AI stuff.
So, Need Us Digital, as you mentioned earlier, and I would, if I was going to do a 30-second pitch, it would be I am a digital systems consultant, coach, partner, that essentially specialises in helping businesses grow and scale, make more money, serve more people, by leveraging technology, digital systems, AI, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's so very new. I am a certified business coach with the Entrepreneur Circle. Bit of a shout out for them. But I am leaning in heavily to the digital space, because I just fundamentally believe that whatever business you're in, to scale, you need to be able to repeat things, and you repeat things by having a system. If you go to the supermarket, you have a system. You know where you need to go to get your milk, your eggs, your bread. You've got a system that you go around the supermarket. You go into a different supermarket, it takes you longer.
Yep,
it's frustrating.
100%.
You know, and that's a very, very simple way of understanding the power of systems. And then you put automation in there, and you put AI in there. You know, it's absolutely incredible what you can do. So yeah.
That's you?
That is me, yeah. I mean, fundamentally, I am still a photographer. I still love what I do. I still love meeting the families as well that come and see us. But, you know, a bit like you, it's still very new, as AI is. You know, and ultimately we all grow and change. We've all got some value to give, and
100%.
And yeah, I mean, just on that point, actually, like same question to you, really, in terms of
what do I do?
I mean, I kind of know.
Yeah.
To some extent, but if you were gonna have a 30-second pitch, putting you on the spot out of there.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. Do you know, the funny bit is I had this conversation. So I it's really interesting that you should say this, because I am trying to work. So I have a very wide skill set. So if you come to me, I can help you on a lot of aspects of your business, because I've done them. So because I've started a business very, very small, and I've got it up to like having national accounts and being able to sell to all sorts of people, and get the business through audits, and you know, attract investors, and you know, all the things that you would want to do with a business. I've kind of done them. Right from the scratch of setting something up for nothing. That's probably what I do the best. Is if you don't have a lot of money and you want to start, I will get you going. Yeah. And so without you spending, bootstrapping, I will get you up and running, so that you can actually start dealing with customers, go and get your customers, and get them in place. And I will show you how to do it. I'm working with Feedback Nexus at the moment, something that is completely out of my wheelhouse with software, but it's actually really interesting, and a lot of the stuff carries over. It's the same set of problems. Where are the customers? How do we get to them? What do we need to do
Hmm.
to get them on board with us as opposed to our competition? And so that's what we're working through on that business at the moment. And you know, I was like, well, all your competitors have got a YouTube channel, they've all got how to's, we need to build that. So we started building that. We're going to make some fun content as well from a developer point of view. We found where people are, all that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing. So
Well,
I can,
businesses are fundamentally
yeah, there's the same, the
they're the
same
same.
object.
Yeah.
So I can help on all sorts of levels. The key, and I think this is where the for the first 6 months to a year, this first year, it's going to be really telling to see where I end up niching down.
Mm.
So like, I've already
Exciting, actually.
it is exciting, and like I'm very open at the moment. I have a very wide skill set because I don't really know what people will find the most valuable. So it's a bit like I've got a toolbox full of different tools, and some will take the spark plugs out of your engine, and some will strip the wires on a plug that you put in your kitchen. So it's just
Yeah, that's a good
working
way of putting
out
it.
which one is the most valuable, that makes the
Mm.
most money, and actually that I enjoy doing the most.
Yeah, that's the
Because
most important thing.
yeah, and for me, I think the most important thing is bringing. So NRD. So the brand 24 NRD is actually my reg on my car.
Okay.
So it stands for a nerd, and 24 is the number that I used to race under. But then I
All
quite liked
right.
it for a business name because I thought, well, it's your 24-hour nerd. So I'm here for you because I'm online 24 hours. I mean, as I said to Polly, don't ring me at 3 o'clock because I don't know, somebody sent you an email. But
Need AI to respond to it.
yeah, but then the other thing is, I like the idea that NRD stands for Nurture Real Development. There's a lot of coaches and business
Okay.
people out there that will come and do something for you that doesn't really bring real development.
Mm.
So for me, I want to develop the person behind whatever it is. So empower them and show them, right, this is the mindset you need. This is how you need to build this thing.
Mm.
Um, it's working out who the person is, like what their goals actually are. They might have
Mm.
goals that are really lovely, but actually realistically their character type might not fit that. So it's
Mm.
just going to be they're just going to end up being miserable in their work.
Mm.
So there's nothing wrong with setting a different set of goals and having a different like measure of success,
Mm.
because it is literally a measurement.
Mm.
We just need to make you profitable in whatever that is.
Mm. Well, do you know something? And it starts with um, using some coaching terminology. It starts with defining your terms.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and what that really is. T is time.
Yeah.
Um, E is energy.
Yeah.
R is resources. M is money. And S is sanity or sleep. So time is like, how much time do you want to give to your business? Like, you or the people that you're working with. You know, somebody might not want to earn lots and lots of money. Their goal may be, I just want to work 2 days a week. So okay, we've got the time.
Yeah.
You know, the energy. How much energy do you bring to your business and the thing that you do? And it's important to identify that, because if you're not bringing the right energy to what you're doing, you're not going to achieve the full potential of whatever
Yeah.
task or
100%.
activity that is. So, you know, identify what that is, and then you can delegate the other stuff
Yeah.
if it's required, or just not do it at all. Resources. We all have resources. How much money have you got to invest? And how much time have you got to invest? Because actually, somebody that says, well, I want to work 2 days a week, the other person might say, I'll do whatever it takes. But we are still all limited by our resources, be it we've only got 24 hours in a day, we've only got this amount of money, I've only got access to these particular things, which again is why digital
Yeah.
and online is so
Widens that.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the R for resources. M being in money. And now this is a really important one that I think people forget. How much money do you want to earn? Because actually, you need to identify that, because then you can track it back to, okay, so how much is one customer worth? And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
how many customers do I need?
Yeah.
What's my conversion rate? So how many leads do I need? And then eventually you get back to marketing, and you know, again, it's thinking about these systems. And then sanity or sleep is if you are sleeping soundly at night, because running business is hard,
Hundred
and
percent.
you absolutely need to follow a system and follow a path and get support from the right people, you know, whoever that is, and that changes, I might add, you know, depending on what you need. You know, if you are sleeping soundly at night, then perhaps you are kind of in the right place. And I think, you know, no matter what business I speak to, it's always really, really important to get people to think about, where are you going?
Mm.
You know,
Well,
where are you going in life and in
yeah.
business?
Well, I would say so. From what I've learned, and there's three types of people in business. I've said this to you before. So this is just how I see it. You have entrepreneurs, engineers, and creatives, and everybody falls a bit into each category, but they're predominantly one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they all come with their pros and cons. So, an engineer, fantastic. You get an engineer in your business, he will sort your accounts system out. He will bring in your your protocols and get you through an audit, and he'll enjoy every minute. And if you speak to him, he'll tell you all about the processes that he did to get that to work, and he's very proud of it. And it's easy to motivate him because you just tell him, you've done really well, here's some money. Now, the downside to them is they tend not to be risk takers.
Mm.
Then, and they'll stay put in a job for a long time because they're a engineer. You need them in business. You've got to have people who are engineers, or you've got to team up with somebody that's an engineer.
Mm.
Otherwise, it won't function. Entrepreneurs, I would say I fall in that category heavily. I'm like, you know, tomorrow we're going to sell computers to the moon, because eventually Elon Musk is going to get up there and he's going to need moon computers that work in low gravity or whatever. And I will aim really, really high, but then sometimes that can be super unrealistic. I can be a massive risk taker, and then often entrepreneurs will quite often get bored of something and move on to the next thing because it's not giving instant gratification. They enjoy, sometimes to the creatives, annoyance, and also to the engineer that will think we're utterly reckless. They will enjoy the money going in their pocket more than they will enjoy giving a good product out. So that is
Yeah.
often a fault with an entrepreneur. Creatives, they'll make beautiful things. They're perfectionists quite often in what they do, but then they will struggle to be able to sell it at a good price, and they will often give the stuff away, and they will have a habit of not being able to relinquish control of the creative part of their business to scale it up. So, for instance, they make candles. They've got a dream of selling candles in the range. And then you go, well, you're going to have to. That's some serious volume. You're going to have to do hundreds of thousands of these things. So you're going to need somebody to help you make them, or you're going to have to farm out. No, 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 no. I couldn't possibly let somebody else make these because no one makes them like I do, which instantly will stunt the growth of that business. So there's nothing wrong with any one of those things, but it's trying to set out. If you're a startup, one of the first things I would like to do is work out what kind of person they are. So if they're a creative, we just need to tailor it back and say, well, look, it's exactly what you said. How much time are you willing to give? Are you willing? You know, is your dream of selling those candles to the range realistic? Probably not. if you're not willing to let somebody else make them for you, well, that's fine. Why don't you make them and just sell to your local craft shops?
Mm.
Why don't you just open a website and drive traffic to it and sell it at a really good price, provide a really good service of, postage and package, and make sure you're maximising your margins,
Mm.
and then you can be happy in what you're doing then, and you're not pushing
Mm.
for more and more and more and more.
But so oftentimes, and a couple of points on that. I 100% agree. There's definitely those very three clear areas of, you could say, personality, and it's important as a coach, if you're working with a business, to kind of identify, what the person may be, or where they fit, where their strengths are, but of course where the weaknesses are, because that's
Yeah,
what you want to help them with. But they need to know as well. They need to be honest with themselves
that's
about
right. Yeah,
their own strengths and weaknesses. But one of the main things that I think is important in business above all else is understanding, like, why you're doing something.
oh yeah, I'd
If
agree with that.
you've
Yeah,
probably heard of the books by Simon Sinek, Start with Why, and it's essentially three circles. On the outside, you've got what. I think that's on the outside. Yeah, what. So everybody knows what they do. So I am a coach or photographer. And then the circle in is how. So everybody tends to be able to identify how they do what they do. But a lot of people fall down with why. Like,
mm.
why are you doing what you're doing? And I think when you dig deep and you discover that, the passion allows you to then tackle your weaknesses, because you want to achieve your goal, because you know why you're doing it.
Yeah,
So
hundred
whatever your
percent.
weaknesses are, if you're the creative, which I probably fall into more than others, I definitely can get stuck on being a bit of a perfectionist. But I do understand that about myself. But if you understand your why, you can then kind of
Move on from that
tackle
point. Yeah,
tackle
yeah, that's
the
right. Yeah,
hard things in business. And I think it's one of the hardest things to do as a person, to be honest about your weaknesses. And the other thing I was going to say, there's a really great thing. I've last couple of years I did some training to be a counsellor, a therapist. Understanding the human mind is, to me, like, massively important in business. But the Johara window, so it's four squares,
yeah,
and you've got the public self, so things that you know about yourself and things that other people know about you. Then you've got, I hope I get these right now.
Here we go.
Then you've got the the box that essentially, I can't remember the names, but the box that essentially
I can search
is,
it up.
yeah, do that actually. But it is let's get it right before I tell the story, because I think
How do you spell it?
Johara window. Like you, I am not the best at spelling.
Johara window model. There you go.
Yeah. So what's this? The four squares. It's really, really important, and in it allows you to be vulnerable, because it's
There you go.
so there we go. So the open area or arena. So the things that other people know about me and the things that I know about me. So the hidden area is the things that you know about yourself, but you keep hidden from other people.
Yeah,
And that's okay, and we all have our insecurities, and that is fine. The blind spot is the things that other people see about you, but you don't see it yourself,
yeah,
either through ignorance or through you just don't want to see it.
yeah.
And then the unknown, the final square, is that nobody knows yet. about the things about your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses. And I think when you think about yourself in those 4 areas, it just allows you to kind of segment a part of yourself that you can then say, okay, I'm gonna think deeply about this particular area. And it kind of helps organize things in your head a little bit
Yeah.
when you're going through things.
Yeah. True.
Um,
Yeah.
all these things are so, um, they're just tools out there to help you
Yeah. Well,
on
this
the
is
journey of life.
that's it. 100%. I think, man, we have gone
We've covered a
all
lot.
over the
I
place.
could I could go for longer, but do
I
you
know.
know
I
what?
know. We've got an hour and a half.
We'll have should we have a season?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should do a season. I think. Yeah, I was going to end it earlier, but yeah, we went on. Yeah. So I do all sorts of stuff basically. That's my answer to my question that you gave me. Yeah, I do all sorts of stuff. So it can be guerrilla marketing. I enjoy that. I love it. In fact, that's like I love being a disruptor.
Guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
What what is that?
So guerrilla marketing. So if you go to like a marketing meeting, or you let's say you go to university, and university will teach you how to do marketing, but it's quite often somebody has put that together that maybe has never really been successful in marketing, or it could be that they were successful in marketing 25 years ago. So you get like a carbon copy of marketing when it comes out at the end of your course of whatever you do. And guerrilla marketing is slightly different. So I hate the term, but out the box thinking is kind of probably the clearest buzzwords from my generation. You look at a problem and you go, what is, well, the obvious thing to do is like, oh, well, you go and do some AdWords and you do this and you do that. You go through a few network meetings, and that's how you do it. The way I look at it is, how can I mess with people and get my brand in front of the biggest amount of people for the least amount of money. So one of the things I did was James May, Richard Hammond, and Jeremy Clarkson were doing something called Drive Tribe, and then they set up Food Tribe, and they were doing various things. And one of the things that James May did was called Mail Time. So James May's Mail Time, and you could send. Ultimately, it was like back in the day, Swap Shop. So you could send something in. He would either keep it, or he'd swap it with you for something else. So I saw this. I was like, I'm going to send him a case of beer.
Okay.
So it cost us what, a case of beer, the value probably 30 quid with all the postage and everything. Sent him a box, wrote him a letter. Well, lo and behold, I get a message. You need to open YouTube. James May's got a beer.
No way.
And he's talking about it, and he's like, and he wouldn't swap it with anybody, and he was like, he loved the beer, and like at the time, we didn't really do bottled beers, so it was like a little side thing that we do now and again for special beers, that we might have more cask beer than we thought we would have, and yeah, so the branding was all over the shop, but it didn't really matter because it was beer. So he was really happy with it, proper loved it. It crashed our website because so many people visited. We sold out of every single thing within the space of about an hour. It was all gone.
And you can't plan stuff like that.
You can't plan stuff like that, and that's a fun bit of guerrilla marketing. That's probably the most successful thing. And then I ended up going down and doing a podcast with them on Food Tribe, which is got loads of listens. I ended up on the Food Tribe. They had a big almost like a social media platform, and I was one of the experts in my field because people had seen what we did, and so we got a lot of customers through that. So all of that has come from 30 quid. and a trip down to London. So
And you just couldn't have planned something
you
like
can't
that.
plan something
No,
like that,
it
but
just,
you've got to look at it and you go, right, how could I possibly do this and get away with, and it is, I know it sounds really naughty, sometimes it's better to do it and ask for forgiveness after.
oh,
But like,
totally.
play a stunt, do something. One of the things I really wanted to do was at a beer festival was put a tank, put a like turf an area and park a tank on it to make a statement that, you know, if somebody it's a business term, you know, they parked a tank in our garden. It's basically like they mean business. And I wanted to do that to make a statement, but we couldn't get the tank into the venue without problems with the floor, so we never got to do it. But like anything like that was a bit more risky that would get eyes, because could you imagine if you took a tank to a beer festival and parked a little tiny brewery parked next to Brewdog with a tank facing the gun turret facing Brewdog? Like, what a statement from a little independent. That was the whole stunt. And Brewdog would have probably run with it because it would be good PR for them as well. They're not bothered about me, but it would be great PR for me. So you're getting this massive value from something that is essentially of no value. And then the same with, I started streaming and doing YouTube. Nobody saw any value in doing YouTube for breweries. I mean, there was one other guy that was, I would say, was more to do with the technical side of brewing and explaining how it's done. He saw the value in it and he's done very well out of it. But we were like, hey, let's live stream. It's COVID. We've got nothing better to do. And it was free. And we got our name out there. And then we started giving beer out to all the beer reviewers and they were all talking about it. And so just constantly building on that. And then all the other breweries are like, what? Where's that come from? And then Brew York started to do it. And then Siren had a go. And before you know it, there's quite a few breweries on YouTube. And that's just been a market disruptor. There's like nobody was doing it. It was like, why aren't they doing it?
The thing is,
Let's
as well,
let's go for it.
what's important to identify with that is that it's not necessarily YouTube. I mean, that's just a tool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just another tool. Yeah.
But the way business has changed, and again that Vogue article, and I'll share that with you. Actually, we'll put it in the description on this video.
Yeah.
But the future of marketing and the future of business, it's gonna be all about eyeballs. You know, the businesses that win are the ones that are gonna get attention.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, and whatever you can do, the more out of the box it is, the more crazy it is, the more attention you're gonna get. You know, you've got to break through.
Yeah.
And get people's attention.
You've got to be a disruptor. You've got to cause
people as well.
Yeah, that's it. Well, authenticity and entertainment are always the way.
Absolutely. But more so nowadays.
Well, this is it. I mean, you're sat here watching a podcast, and I've had a glass of wine. You're on your eighth cider. No, it's not really. But and you know, like for me, it's real life. I don't want it to be always polished and perfect.
No, absolutely no.
We're sat in my shed in the back garden. You know, there's nothing. But
I mean, it's we're on the cusp of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we're not on the cusp of it. You know, attention is winning now, but in terms of the businesses that are leveraging and using that as a strategy, is not. So you know your idea about the James May and the beer. Thing that particular thing couldn't have been planned, but there is things that you can do that would generate a particular response. You've just got to have that as an outcome,
and also you've got to be prepared to put a few noses out of joint.
Oh,
and
God,
do you know what we did? I'll tell you a funny one that I did.
I struggle with that, but
I did a really funny one, and this was. It was super controversial because we had, with the brewery, we had quite a lot of church followers and stuff like that. And for April Fools, I made out that we'd created an OnlyFans page.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I put it, we had a link tree with all the stuff. of all the things with the business and like where you could buy this and do that and who was selling our beer in what pubs and all that kind of stuff. And then it had an OnlyFans link. It looked exactly like OnlyFans. Everything was perfect about it. But if you clicked on it, it rickrolled you. It did the Rick Ashley song. So
I don't know what that is,
yeah,
but we'll just
so
pretend I do.
yeah. So basically, it rickrolled you, and it's just an old meme, like just funny. It's silly, and people like I thought, oh, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, but everybody loved it, and it actually won us a contract with a wholesaler because they were all in a boardroom, and they were talking about like breweries that they'd seen at a beer festival, being one of us being an attender, and they looked it up, and they said they had it. In the boardroom on a big screen that they were going through and checking everybody's socials, and they were like on Instagram, they're like, oh, they've got an OnlyFans, how weird is that? And they said, well, we've got to click it because that, like, what, you know, you think it'd be an Only Cans. Anyway, they clicked it, and then, of course Rick Ashley comes on and Rick rolls them, and they all just burst out laughing, and they're like, these guys are crazy, and yeah, we'd love to do business with them. So they hadn't even tasted our beers. So it took us out the competition of sending them samples and all that. They were like, no, you guys are fun. We want to work with somebody like you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to
Do you know that's
bite the bullet and do some guerrilla marketing.
where you said, you know, I've got this toolbox of all these skills that I can help you with. What's really interesting about the last 10 minutes is the stories that you've told that, you know, actually really identify, you know, the creative side of you that would allow you to understand a business and be like, I'm going to come up with some of these things. That I think will be massively valuable for businesses.
I've got another.
God, we could go on and on.
I've got another idea for this business right now, and I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want somebody to nick the idea. But it's proper naughty, but it will work.
Oh, you can tell me after.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's quite clever. It's so simple. And I can't take all the credit for it because I saw somebody else do it. I thought I could adapt that idea and use it for my business, and it will definitely get attention. I will probably get in trouble for it, but that can be a positive as well. So you get in trouble for it, and
it's attention, right?
It's attention, yeah. So you know, you go, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't think I'd be in trouble for it. So you know,
well, there was that famous time where KFC ran out of chicken.
Yeah.
You know, they're just absolutely, you know, genius marketeers just turned that on its head.
Yeah.
You know, made it.
Well,
we call it into a positive.
We still call it "can't find no chicken," KFC. I mean, that's not how you spell it, but it's just can't find chicken because it's just stupid. Mind you, the price of KFC now is fucking mental. Anyway, we digress. I'm going to stop it here. Ben, it's been a pleasure. I think we'll have to do another one.
Oh God, yeah.
We could do like maybe a weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, and maybe we should do a live version.
Yeah, put in the comments, guys, what you wanna what you wanna see us talk about.
Yeah.
Because oh God, we can go on any direction.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you know, we've gone on all sorts of stuff that we've talked about that is probably
it's always a pleasure talking
off limits in business as well. Oh no, you don't talk about that. Well, I don't care. Let's talk about it because it's interesting and fun. So, thank you everybody for listening and watching the Disruptor Guild podcast by 24 NRD Consultancy, and thank you, Ben, for coming in and talking to us all.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's been good fun, isn't it? And I will catch you all on the flip flop, as they say. Or on the flip side.
Flip side is the right term.
Yeah, well, you can say flip flop. Catch you on the flip flop. It's a trucker term.
Okay.
Yeah, or you'll say something like "keep it shiny side up," which means don't turn your truck over. But anyway, I digress again. Right, 10-4. I'll catch you all on the flip flop. See you later.